So I've been to the library a few times now, and when I first got there, I was pretty disappointed because it's just like a small room. And but I was also excited because lots of new books and stuff like that. Space for reading, not much actually for in terms of like actually sitting down and reading. But anyway, what was exciting more than the actual library space was two things. One was this little borrow box thing. I don't know if you can see that; it's very glary. But this is like just it's an audiobook library, which is really great. There's like a lot there, so I've been making the most of that. Um, and the other thing was that I found out that all of the, what's it called, the libraries in Ireland are connected through a shared borrowing service. So you can borrow from any library, in the whole country. You can borrow from any library in the whole country and you can have those ordered in. Of course, it means it can take a long time. Sorry, these magpies are just like swooping at me from outside the window. But anyway, yeah. It can take a long time for the books to arrive, like we're talking months here. But I did a whole lot of orders and they've been just like kind of trickling in. But recently I got a whole bunch. I got like four. Is it four? Yeah, I got four books all at once, and so that was very exciting. And I thought I would show off my accumulation of library books. And also it's just been a while since I had a thumbnail which had me carrying a big stack of books, so I thought it was time. First of all, let me show you these ones that just arrived. So look at these beautiful colors. Like, ooh, just hit myself in the face. I've always got them downstairs on the sofa next to me, so I can just like have them near to look at and like to bathe in. I want to just throw them up in the air and shower in them, although that would be very painful. But it's like, the covers and the stories that you don't know. Anyway, I'll get into the stories. Yeah, I don't really know, but I'll do a quick like synopsis. This one, The Employees, a workplace novel of the 22nd century. It's been talked about on BookTube quite a lot. Everyone that I've heard talking about it only has wonderful things to say. It sounds like exactly the kind of novel that I would be very interested in reading. Super short. It's sci-fi, and I think like there's some sort of incident on a spaceship or space station or something, and they are it's told like in interviews. It's like an epistolary novel, right? It's told through interviews of the employees on the ship, and that's basically all I know. But I'm really excited. It's it's to do with work. It's to do with work in the 21st century, even though it's set in the future and stuff. So it's yeah, and it's super short, so I should be able to get to that pretty quickly. Then we have like The Performance by Claire Thomas. This is one that when I heard about last year, I was really excited about it. It's about like three women in a theater in Australia while the bushfires are raging outside, and I think like coming closer and closer to the theater. And the three women are watching Happy Days, which is a play by Samuel Beckett, which I have fond memories of seeing myself in London. So I remember the atmosphere inside the theater, and like I feel like I'm probably going to project that onto this, or like kind of like it's going to probably impact my reading, which will be exciting. But yeah, like the play has like a woman up to her waist in sand, and then like she's buried up to her neck by the end of the play. Not by the end of the play, in the second half of the play. It's like first act, second act. But anyway, that's it sounds all very like a really interesting premise, and I'm really excited to get to that one. This one, The Silent Cry by Kenza. I do not know what this is about, but when like years ago when I was in Peru in my grandmother's little town, I met this Nikkei Japanese guy, like second or third generation, I forget, but we became friends, and he had like a little bakery, like pastel shop, and yeah, he told me if I read one book in my life, I should read this one. And I said, okay, I will read it, and I haven't read it for years, but now this year it's going to change at some point. I've got it there, ready to go. I have Ponti, which was recommended to me by Freddie from the Sluggish Reader, and this is a Singaporean book, so I'm excited for that reason. And also the title, Ponti, it's based on Pontianak. Pontianak is like, my Indonesian friend actually told me about Pontianak years ago as this ghost story, but it's a Singaporean writer, so I guess like it's shared across cultures. Maybe it's a Southeast Asian thing, but she's like a scary ghost. This isn't about her. This is about, I think, the daughter of an actress who used to play her in the movies. I might just be projecting the Final Girls movie onto this. I think it's like maybe more to do with the daughter-mother thing, or the daughter in the shadow of this thing, or maybe it's nothing to do with Ponty at all. It's just a nice title. I don't know actually what this is about. I know that Freddie didn't like it. I think he gave it like a 1-star review or something. But when we were talking in the comments on a video, he said I might like it, and I thought that was really cool. That you can see a book and really dislike it personally, but also see that it might be for somebody else based on their taste. So that kind of like made an impression on me, and I thought like, oh yeah, I'd like to try it out. So there we go, there's that one. Then we have an actual Samuel Beckett. Wow, the glare is terrible. Sorry about that. We have an actual Samuel Beckett, Malloy. This was when I was doing like my first order, and I was just like, what do I order? What do I ask for? And I knew that Samuel Beckett, I'd seen one of his books on the shelf. One of his books is up here actually, but I wanted to read like kind of one of his main novels, and he has like apparently a trilogy of novels, and this is the first one. And yeah, I've read some stuff, like I said, like I've seen some plays, and I've like read some of his short fiction, but I've never read a proper novel, and I want to read Irish novels now that I'm in Ireland, so this is one of the ones that I want to try. I don't know anything about it, don't know the synopsis or what it's about. The Mummy, been reading The Mummy by Anne Rice. I am 140 pages into The Mummy. It's wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's kind of like veers between like kind of creepy horror-ish thrillery thing to well, it's not really horror. It's not really horror at all. It's more at the moment on the other side, which is like trashy romance, which I'm all here for trashy romance. I'm not really sure what this book is what it is, and that's kind of nice. Like it's it's still the jury's out on this one, basically. But yeah, you know the story. There's a mummy in Egypt. They find in like early. It's in like 1920s or something. It's like early 20th century, I think. I don't really know the time period. It's kind of vague. But there's a mummy in the tomb. They find the mummy. They take the mummy out, and they bring it to London. And there's murder, there's death, there's the mummy coming to life and stuff. And it's interesting and exciting. This one, I Antigone. When I arrived in Ireland, I saw this in a bookshop. I think it's an Irish writer, Carlo Gebler. It's got an accent in it, but I think it's by an Irish guy. But anyway, yeah, it's Antigone, right? It's the House of Cadmus, my favorite family in all of fiction. So obviously I wanted to see what it's about. I wanted to see if it had a little family tree at the beginning. It does. These are always interesting for me because like I want to see what the writer has cut out and what they've like kept in. What's included and excluded in Greek family trees always kind of gives you an idea of what story is being told, because the family trees are so huge that there's all like cousins and like half brothers and sisters all over the place. So when you make a family tree map, you have to decide what's relevant to your particular story. So in this one, by looking at the family tree, it's quite broad. So that was like very exciting. It's not just like 3 or 4 people. And yeah, the story is like, well, I'll tell you how I read it. I started reading it in the bookshop. Then I went to another bookshop at a different time and I saw it again. So I picked up where I'd left off. And this went on like 5 bookshops later. I'd gotten to like halfway through and I thought, this is ridiculous. So I was feeling a bit ashamed of myself. So I just got it out of the library. So I'm about halfway through this one, although I don't really remember what was happening. But basically, like, Antigone in this one is some sort of prophetess or something, or she's getting some sort of vision and she's asking someone to write down her family history. So she's getting like visions of the past and telling us from Cadmus like down to her own line. I think that's what was going on anyway in that one. And then finally, Cosmos by Vitold Gombrovich. I think I pronounced that right, but I'm not sure. It's a Polish book. It's translated by Danuta Borchardt. What an amazing translation. You can't really see. There's my bookmark right at the end there of the book. So I've only got a little bit left to go, like 30 pages or something. It's all building up to a climax and I have no idea what's going to happen or if anything is going to happen at all, because it's one of those books. It's about a student who has the summer to study for exams, and he goes off to get away from his parents, to get away from the city, to go into the countryside, and he meets a guy who's also like really dissatisfied with his job, and they go and they find this little house to like the lodge, like kind of up in the mountains, and the kind of the plot begins when they find in a little like clearing in the forest, I think it's a sparrow, but a little bird, yeah, it's a sparrow, and it's been like hanged. It's dead and it's like hanging from a branch like quite high up. So that's really freaky and like suggests like this is a horror book. It's not a horror book. it's kind of horrifying in bits and in lots of stuff, but it's more like they say here, within the genre of crime fiction, Gombrovich explores the angst of human existence. And I think that's, oh, and it also says a dark quasi-detective novel. So yeah, I think detective and crime are kind of misleading, but I see why you'd use them. Not just to sell the book, like also I think it uses those genre tropes, but it's more about like, well, I'm going to talk about this book probably later because I've got lots to say about it, I think. And it was recommended by Brandon over at his channel. I'll leave him and Freddie linked down below in the description. But yeah, like he did a best of 2021 video, and I watched that, and this wasn't even in his top 10. This was in his like honorable mentions, but something about what he said about it like kind of stuck in my brain. And then at the same time I was ordering the Samuel Beckett, thinking like, what do I order? This was just in my brain, and I'm really glad I did order it because yeah, this is some of the most beautiful writing I've ever read, even if the book is not like necessarily my favorite book I've ever read. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. These are the books then. What else to say about them? Not much. I'm not sure I'm gonna read all of them before I have to return them, to be honest, because there's also like this isn't my immediately to read pile. It's just like kind of my exciting, I have lots of books around me pile. I've got like, I'll spin them around so you can see the nice spine. It's just that like I've got books that I'm halfway through from before Christmas, and then I stopped them because it was Christmas, and those books weren't actually, like this is one of them, this massive thing. I'm just reading one of the novels in this by what's it called? Keep the Aspidistra Flying by George Orwell. So I was really enjoying that, but it's like about this bitter man, and he's like poor and bitter and living in a bookshop, and it's just working in a bookshop even. But yeah, it wasn't the time to read it for Christmas, so I put that aside, and I put another book up here aside, and I was really enjoying them, and I really want to get back to them. So yeah, I'm probably going to finish those books off before I read all of these, but it's nice that they're here, even if I don't get to all of them. I'm definitely going to get to the employees, because that's really short. One more thing, there's this anime I'm obsessed with, and it is book related, because it's, well, let me tell you, it's called Yakusoko no Neverando, The Promised Neverland. And it's about these kids. They're growing up in an orphanage, and everything is nice. It's in like the countryside. It's very idyllic. There's a big wall that on the edge that they're not allowed to go through. But what else happens? Oh yeah, when they reach like the age of 12, I think they get shipped away to another place. Or so they think, because two of the oldest children, who are soon to turn 12, discover that all is not as it seems, and actually it's really horrible what happens when you reach that age. And yeah, like they find out pretty early on, because that's like the inciting incident that sets the whole thing in motion, because then they're trying to escape from the place where they've been like raised their whole lives. And it's exciting and it's thrilling. There's monsters in it. There's like a supernatural fate that awaits them when they leave, but you know, it would be way scarier if it was just adult humans, and I think that's why. If it was adult humans who were like behind it all, then I think it would actually be too scary for the audience that it's going for. So, but I love this trope. I love this trope of like the honey trap, where it's like a little community where everything seems perfect, and actually we know it's really something sinister is going on underneath it all. I've always absolutely loved this trope, and I love it loads in this anime as well. So, and I'm up to the like last episode of the first season, so as soon as I finish it, I'm gonna go and start reading the manga, because I'm that into it. I've heard the second season actually goes really downhill, but it doesn't matter for now. I'm really enjoying the ride. The main character, Emma, is fantastic. There's three main characters, Emma, Norman, and Ray, and they are they're so like friends, love, like big themes of like harmony and loving each other, but at the same time really indirect emotional expression in a very Japanese way, even though it's meant to be like a little multicultural orphanage thing, but like it's obviously very Japanese. And yeah, like they all love each other so much, and that combined with the sort of the horrible situation that they're in is really compelling and really fun, and I recommend it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the manga soon. So that's all. I didn't say at the beginning, but happy St. Patrick's Day, especially if I end up posting this video on the same day that I'm filming it. But yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm, spending my first St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. That's kind of exciting. So I'm gonna go into town now and see what the vibes are like there. And yeah, that's all. Catch you later. Bye bye.